What about the garbage outside today? Robert De Niro, officially sent by the Biden campaign, makes himself look like an idiot and reminds us why Trump is so popular.
It's so stupid. It was colossally stupid. If you're going to send somebody to go speak outside of the Trump trial, make it someone who's universally beloved, like a Michelle Obama. You know, she's not universally loved. She's not loved on the right. But I'm saying, like, at least within the left and the center left, and maybe even some center righties. Robert De Niro has gone so hard partisan over the past 8 years. He is like example number one of Trump derangement syndrome.
Robert De Niro built an empire, playing Hollywood's ultimate tough guy. But somewhere along the way, he forgot the difference between movie scripts and real life. On screen, he was the fearless knob boss, the rugged anti-hero, the sharp-eyed legend who commanded respect. Off-screen, though, he's turned into a cranky old man, yelling at clouds, fumbling through interviews, and embarrassing himself in public. And that's where Megyn Kelly steps in. She doesn't just roast him. She obliterates him, ripping apart the carefully constructed myth of Robert De Niro and exposing the sad reality of what he's become.
Winner number 2, Robert De Niro. Congratulations, sir. Another Oscar for the iconic actor who, now 80, appeared on Bill Maher over the weekend and had some choice words about Donald Trump.
The guy is a total monster. And anybody, I don't understand it. I guess they get behind that kind of logic. They want to fuck with people, screw them.
There was a time when De Niro commanded the screen like few others. Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas. Those roles burned into cinematic history, making him untouchable. But today, his new role is Hollywood relic, desperately clinging to relevance while the world moves on. Megyn Kelly skewers this fall from grace perfectly, comparing him to a once feared mobster now reduced to a mall cop waving a flashlight nobody notices. His rants and interviews don't inspire awe anymore. They inspire secondhand embarrassment. Watching De Niro these days is less like watching a legend, and more like watching your neighbor's grandfather argue with his TV remote.
I never play him as an actor because I can't see any good in him. Nothing at all. Nothing redeemable in him. He's a sociopathic, psychopathic, malignant narcissist.
That could be tough for an actor to play such a hateful man. Someone like, I don't know, like Bernie Madoff, say. A guy who stole $65 billion from nuns and Holocaust survivors like Elie Wiesel and was sentenced to 150 years in...
What makes De Niro so ripe for a roast is how seriously he takes himself. He storms into interviews with the swagger of a man convinced he's changing the world. But instead of delivering brilliance, he rambles incoherently, spewing insults at people who stopped caring about his opinions decades ago. Kelly slices through his ego like a hot knife, mocking his delusion that Hollywood stardom somehow makes him a political genius. Here's the spoiler: it doesn't. Memorizing lines written by great screenwriters doesn't magically make you one.
What Trump is doing to try to keep filmmaking, American filmmaking, in America by slapping tariffs on foreign-made films so that he can basically try to force people to make them domestically again.
De Niro's political rants are a performance, and not a good one. He talks about world leaders like he's still in a Scorsese film, delivering lines as if there's a soundtrack swelling behind him. But the gravitas is gone. What's left is the sad spectacle of a man pretending to sound relevant while sounding completely out of touch. Kelly highlights this perfectly, pointing out that De Niro isn't a political commentator. He's an actor trapped in character, still playing the angry man on screen. Except this time, nobody bought a ticket.
What do you make of above it all Biden now actually going, right? The Democrats were salivating. Trump's stuck in court. He's not going to be able to say anything. But Joe Biden's got the whole nation to himself. Meanwhile, they're like, holy shit, all the action's over there. We better get over there right now. Who do we send? Get Robert De Niro. He's one of the biggest stars on earth. Everybody will love him. Well, he got booed to the point where he started to get upset.
And let's be honest, even the anger doesn't look convincing anymore. De Niro shouting in interviews feels less like righteous fury and more like a toddler mid-tantrum. The veins bulge, the voice cracks, the hands flail, but the message, it's incoherent. Kelly roasts him for mistaking volume for intelligence, as if screaming louder magically makes him smarter. Once, he mastered the art of subtlety. Now, he's a man swinging his last weapon, rage, and missing the target entirely.
Robert De Niro has gone so hard partisan over the past 8 years. He is like example number 1 of Trump derangement syndrome. He's one of those, I'm moving to Canada if he wins, and he's never gonna leave the White House if he wins. We're gonna have Trump forevermore. I mean, hello, I hate to break it to you because I realize you're advanced age too, Robert, but people die. So he will leave. One way or the other, he's gonna go. And in the not too distant future, even if Trump says he shouldn't have to.
The saddest part is that Dyro still thinks he's intimidating. In his mind, he's still Travis Bickle, still Jake LaMotta, still the guy lurking in the shadows. But in reality, he's a tired celebrity, waving his fists at an audience that's already moved on. Kelly dismantles this fantasy with surgical precision, mocking the idea that anyone in 2025 is afraid of Robert Dyro. The truth is, the only scary thing left is the thought of sitting through another one of his rambling speeches. Hollywood still shields him because of his cinematic legacy, but Kelly refuses to play along. She exposes the truth. Talent in the 1970s doesn't excuse embarrassing meltdowns today.
The people shouting him down like, your movies suck. That's not true.
No, his movies are
don't
very good.
Suck. He's one of the greatest actors. I mean, he's the heir apparent to Brando, blah, blah, blah. But he's a loon.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to just say what he is. He has, basically, I describe this to people. You know what's happening now? Because people are aware about concussions and the problems with CTE. When you get hit and you get a dinger in football, they put you in the blue tent, and the sideline.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen to Democrats. They need to go in the blue tent for a little bit, kind of, get your eyes checked, and then come out and be rational again.
Yeah, cool off
and
a
De
little.
Niro needs to go in the blue tent. I mean, because it's not calming things down. We need to be rational.
Even his career choices tell the story. For every Goodfellas, there's now a strain of forgettable roles in half-baked comedies and streaming movies nobody asked for. It's like watching a once gourmet chef reduced to flipping frozen burgers at a county fair. The paycheck still comes in, sure, but the legacy is ruined. And the irony? Dyro doesn't even realize the joke's on him. He walks around like people are hanging on his every word, when in reality, audiences are just embarrassed for him.
Phil Wegman, he's a buddy of mine, wonderful White House correspondent for Real Clear Politics. He's a serious journalist, right? And he, quote, tweets the press release, and he says, one of the speakers will be Robert De Niro. My hand to God, my first thought was, good for Phil. This is funny. This is a good, funny joke. It's nice to see Phil let his hair down. And then I was like, wait a minute, Phil wouldn't make this joke in this situation. And I still couldn't believe it was real. I am absolutely flummoxed. That is the dumbest move that I've ever seen a presidential campaign make in my entire...
When it comes to political debates, Dyro stumbles in like a confused grandpa auditioning for a role he doesn't understand. He whines instead of commands, complains instead of debates, and somehow believes shouting equals relevance. Even his supporters secretly know the truth. They call him passionate or outspoken, but we all know those are polite ways of saying he's loud and incoherent. Kelly uses this hypocrisy to full effect, showing that Dyro is no longer respected for what he says, only for who he used to be.
To serve, and here's what De Niro said on Tuesday.
America's Philistine president has had himself appointed head of one of our premier cultural institutions. He has cut funding and support to the arts, humanities, and education. And now he has announced a 100% tariff on films produced outside the U.S. Let that sink in for a minute. You can't put a price on creativity, but apparently you can put a tariff on it. Of course, this is unacceptable. All these attacks are unacceptable. And this isn't just an American problem. It's a global one.
What do you make of that?
Well, it's a global problem because it's the greediness of these studios and some of these actors that...
The beauty of this roast. Dyro keeps writing new material for Kelly every time he opens his mouth. Every rant, every meltdown, every flop of a movie, It's all ammunition. He still thinks people are hanging on his every word, but in reality, audiences have tuned him out. His outbursts are treated like background noise, the kind you ignore, like a car alarm in the distance. He mistakes profanity for wisdom and applause from late-night hosts for real influence. And Kelly doesn't let him get away with it.
Down from outside the courtroom, De Niro talking about what's going to happen. We keep hearing this from Rachel Maddow and others. If Trump wins, suggesting we'll never get rid of him. He's going to stay in office forever and ever. He will single-handedly bend the Constitution to his will. Sot 1.
If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now.
Here's the kicker. Dyro built his empire on capitalism, raking in millions from blockbuster hits. Yet now he sneers at the very people who made that lifestyle possible. He preaches about fairness, while living in a bubble so thick he can't even see it. Kelly drags this hypocrisy into the spotlight, exposing how his self-righteousness has become a joke. Strip away the profanity, and there's nothing left. No insight, no substance, no brilliance. Meanwhile, figures like Donald Trump dominate stages with energy and presence, while Dyro mumbles through award shows like the world owes him something.
Yes, hypocrisy is alive and well amongst these sanctimonious leftists. From Kimmel to De Niro to Stephanopoulos, they want you to believe they're better than you, more virtuous, more decent. But we all know the truth. They lie. They sin. They do the very things they accuse you of and the things they say they would never do. Evil things. Like try to destroy people based on...
Kelly sharpens the contrast. Trump represents force, energy, and momentum. Dyro represents bitterness, decay, and nostalgia for relevance long gone. Even his defendos have given up pretending he makes sense, falling back on excuses like, "That's just Bob being Bob." Translation, they're managing expectations. Once a Hollywood powerhouse, Dyro now struggles to command even a shred of credibility. Without the cameras, without the adoring press, without the Hollywood echo chamber propping him up, Robert Dyro is just another angry man shouting at shadows.
He will never leave. You know that. He will never leave. What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country and saying, "I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life"? This is not a threat. This is a reality. And that's why I've joined the Biden-Harris campaign, because the only way to preserve our freedoms and hold on to our humanity is to vote for Joe Biden for president. Really. We don't have a choice.
Okay, just to follow up on that, Dave, here's a little bit of the pushback that he was getting and how he handled it in SOT 2.
For these lowlives, for Trump.
They lied under oath.
They lied under oath.
At this point, Dyro's tirades feel less like political statements and more like personal therapy sessions. Every rant is a confession. Every insult is projection. Every angry outburst is another nail in the coffin of his own myth. Kelly doesn't just laugh at this. She dissects it, piece by piece, until the image is crystal clear. Robert Dyro isn't the fearless icon he thinks he is. He's become the punchline. The roles were legendary. The myth was even bigger. But the man standing behind the microphone today, he's smaller than both, and no amount of shouting can hide it.